What is up, everybody? Welcome back here to the Fissure Universe, episode 5. My name is Cryptic, here with Z Quixotics. We've got one series left here today, and it's a pretty big one. Two teams battling out in the, middle-esque of Group A. Now, one of these teams is going to advance. The other one is going home.
It's not.
So, yeah, it's basically a do-or-die scenario here for both of them. Shopify sitting at 3-3. Yandex is at 2-4. So if Yandex gets the 2-0 here, they will be knocking Shopify out of the event. Shopify just needs one win to advance. So the pressure's on Yandex more so than Shopify, but it's definitely not going to be an easy series by any means.
Yeah, the odds in their favor. They've been playing pretty well. Like, I know they are 3-3. But a lot of the games they lost, for better or for worse, a lot of the games they lost, they were actually winning. Yeah. And that actually, although maybe kind of puts the fans in despair mode, I think it's also a good sign that the potential is there, and that as you make those mistakes that throw the game, you then sit down with good old Coach Bulba, and he tells you, hey, don't do that again, right? You slowly start knocking those out, and you improve your odds of getting the lead and staying in the lead. Yandex, although also in contention, I'd say they've been looking a little bit rougher. It's not saying they play badly, but they aren't taking as big of leads and then throwing them. But when they take the leads, they've been winning those games. So maybe a little... Which team ends up coming out ahead as we get into the draft soon.
Yeah, and I do think Yandex has been steadily improving. I think this is a team that definitely has the potential to take this series 2-0. So I want to say Shopify's got to show up. Like you said, they have, for better or for worse, looked good, but we'll see what ends up happening. I think there's been like 2 games that were legitimately like they were ahead and probably should have walked away the winners. So
that's NA Dota, baby.
Yeah, you never know what's gonna happen. Obviously, just one more win, and they would have been much happier going into this series. They've been like, all right, a lot less pressure. We got the W,
stress-free.
But not quite how it plays out. In terms of the set of bands here, it's going to be the Naga Siren, the Undying Bat Rider, Queen of Pain, and then the Axe, Timber Saw, and Ancient Apparition, right into the first pick, Dazzle, which you see a lot, right? If you're going to go for the Dazzle, the Ancient Apparition is one of the main heroes you have to worry about.
I'm a little surprised to see them take so much time on the Enigma pick. Yandex has shown to like the Dazzle, so usually you have a strat prepared for that, but I guess maybe the bans went a different way than they were expecting, so it took them a moment to decide on what they wanted. We have seen a lot of off-lane Enigmas, and unfortunately, the last time we saw it, it actually didn't look so hot for Shopify. Yeah. But I actually kind of find it comforting in a way that they say, yeah, that was a really bad performance, but we still believe in the hero, and we're going to run it back. That shows you haven't been mentally broken. You just know you made mistakes, but that you know you can do it, right? It still shows some self-confidence. I expect to see probably a gyro ban from Shopify. Otherwise, they're going to draft it themselves. Let me double check. Last time they took it,
they banned and then picked it, is what it was. They were in 4-position gyro with the offlane Enigma for Hellscream.
Yeah, so. And they banned the Kunkka instead. We'll see if they want to do that. No, they go. Yeah. Could be the carry gyro, but we saw Hellscream play it last time, so you got some options there. I think if this ends up being an off-lane Dazzle, you'd actually feel pretty comfortable running the carry gyrocopter, since you, bless you, are you about to sneeze there? Achoo!
We're good. Yep, didn't sneeze.
Bristleback impersonation.
Almost did. Kept it down. I'll sneeze at the most inopportune time mid-game when the black hole gets cast.
That's perfect, dude. Yeah. Definitely do that. If it's the offlane Dazzle, you usually bully a lot of melee carries, and so someone like Gyrocopter is actually perfect. Just shove the lane out, go do your own jungling, and Dazzle's not really an offlaner that can punish you that much for that. They're going to steal away the Warlock in case it is going to be the carry Gyro. That's one of the strongest pairings in the game. Tusk, actually, another pretty strong pairing with the Gyrocopter. So you can take those two heroes away while getting yourself a couple ways to cancel Black Hole potentially, or save heroes if you're real fast with a Snowball as the Black Hole comes out.
It's actually really smart support duo. So, I mean, it does reveal that it is the core Dazzle in the off lane. I don't think that's too shocking, right? We've seen Notice be the one that mostly played it for them anyway. And now you have to consider, like, do you want to run the core Gyro, or do you want this to be committed to Hellscream? And if you do want to run it as a core Gyro, what support do you want to play into the potential Tusk Dazzle lane, which seems pretty...
You need heroes who are comfortable staying far back, which is kind of why, like, I think this Gyro is actually not bad.
Yeah.
You can already shove the lane out. You can also go for someone like Morphling. Tomato is very proficient with a hero, and anytime they go aggressively on you, you just waveform backwards. I think that could be okay, but maybe you want to wait a little later in the draft for that, possibly your last pick, though it might get banned out by then.
Clockwork's pretty smart here because it pairs well with the Gyro and the Enigma, so if you do want to move the Gyro around, you can just have like Clockwork in his lane, or you could still run like a Clockwork 5 with the Gyrocopter 4, so I think this does actually give them a lot of opportunities. It's also great at finding these heroes on the backside, so Dazzle, Warlock, if they actually get scouted by the Clockwork, he's a great hero to start the fight.
You're going to have to reveal something unless you pick another very flexible hero. Some mix of cores and supports are here. Enigma support is even possible if you want a different offlaner. We've actually kind of brushed over that since it has been a little bit more popular as an offlaner for most teams. And yeah, it looks like with that Ogre, unless you're going to do something real crazy, should be Ogre Gyro in that safe lane, Enigma Clockwork in the off lane. We're looking at a mid lane for the final pick of Shopify Rebellion.
That's pretty good damage. I'm not too worried about that if I'm Shopify. I think that is Carry Kunkka. It's not 100%, but Carry Kunkka is one of the few other heroes outside of Gyrocopter that can play fairly strong into the Enigma lane.
Yeah, it's not the most common pairing with the Warlock, but Fatal Pawn's Tidebringer is actually some solid lane damage. Like you said, could just stick it in the mid lane though. For Shopify, you do need someone else to help make plays. Enigma doesn't want to be the first one to go in. Clockwork can't do it all. Something like Ember would have been good. You kind of like scout out the info with the Sleight of Fist spam, Chain Gang. That sets up the black holes.
It's not a bad Pango game for Shopify if Yopaj wants it. The puck would have been sick, but it did get banned. There's the Storm Spirit ban.
A little unrelated, because I don't think it's the type of hero they need, but are you surprised by how hard Death Prophet dropped off from being like first phase? Yeah, first pick, every team wants her, to I didn't think it was the worst nerfs in 7.9C, but she is just dead now.
To be fair, the primary build was rushing the Aghanim Scepter and playing around like your attack speed talent, and it just made it impossible to get away from this hero. And they're just like, yeah, this no longer slows, so people can just actually walk away from Death Prophet now. Which, again, it didn't seem like the biggest deal, but I mean, clearly teams have struggled trying to make it work since. And the one armor in lane also hurts because she's not a high base armor hero. And so that one extra armor does make her trades probably not as good with Spirit Siphon.
I'm surprised it's so dead though. I thought it would just like move it further back into the draft of like, okay, here's a good matchup, and we have the heroes to enable it, so we'll do it. I didn't think it would just be, yeah, that's not a hero anymore. But you're right, the main build did get directly nerfed.
Yeah.
more than we can say about some other heroes who have been in the meta a lot longer than Death Prophet.
Dude, that hero existed for like 2 weeks, like legitimately. And then suddenly they're like, let's actually just remove an entire aspect of the Aghanim Scepter. Meanwhile, -1 armor Shadow Shaman. Thank you very much.
I knew he was going to be your example, dude. Look, it worked. He's not even in this draft.
Unreal, bro. Unreal. I don't know. I mean, here's the thing: is like there's certain heroes that just like don't get picked often, or ever, and they just like don't even get buffs because they just keep trying to nerf the top echelon of heroes to try and bring them down to their level. They do end up banning the Pango. There she is, the Death Prophet.
It is at the end of the draft. You got the save hero in the Dazzle. You got some setup from the Kunkka and Tusk. Maybe even throw in the Goop there from the Warlock. Maybe you don't need the slow from the Exorcism.
It's good, because like I said, I think you wanted to run carry Kunkka here into the Enigma lane. So I knew that they were probably eyeballing a mid laner. And a lot of the Death Prophet, like, hard counters are banned. The big one being, like, Queen of Pain and Bat Rider, stuff like that, actually make her game really difficult. Now, in terms of mid lanes that are left in the pool, pretty shallow.
Especially someone who does well versus Death Prophet. Say Queen of Pain. It's pretty solid. But she's already banned out. Maybe someone like Lena.
Man, I almost said Coddle too. I almost said it, but I was leaning maybe Leshrac, but they will go Coddle.
I mean, she can't run at you, right? You got multiple ways to keep her off of you, including just shoving in the lane and going to stack. And you have an actual carry in the Gyrocopter plus the Enigma late game, so I do think you just need to survive through the early to mid game, and that's something mid Coddle's really good at, just constantly blast out waves. Oh, I can't do it? Let me give mana to my teammates for them to blast out the waves. There's a lot of ways to stall the game out for Shopify to reach that late game potential with the black hole and the actual scaling of Gyrocopter carry. Kunkka's got some okay scaling, but he's like a semi-carry, you know, he's strong laner, you want an earlier timing, and I think that's the nice thing about the Death Prophet. Exorcism gives you some of that objective damage that carry Kunkka doesn't really do. He's good versus heroes, not so much Roshan and towers, but that's where Exorcism comes into play for the first, like, 30 minutes. After that, I think that's when you really start feeling the downsides of having a Kunkka instead of a more typical carry.
Yeah, I was trying to think, because you needed some sort of healing reduction, right? Anytime you're playing against the Death Prophet, it's really important to have someone who can build Vessel, at least before she gets the Yule Scepter. But you're also playing against the Dazzle, so it just makes it super valuable this game. I was thinking maybe, like, Invoker for the Vessel. I saw Coddle, I was like, we don't really see it that often, but they will opt for it. And I don't think it's that bad. I feel like it should be pretty good here. It does give you a lot of sustain in the fights as well to maybe also counter the healing that's coming into this from Yandex. So you're going to have kind of elongated fights here from both teams, which typically favors heroes like Death Prophet as opposed to Shopify, which you're kind of playing around Black Hole and Call Down and just trying to burst a hero. We'll see what happens. If they can come together on their combos, there's not like great counters to Black Hole outside of the Warlock Golem. So see what they can do to, prevent it. But for now, let's go and jump into game number 1. It is Shopify versus Team Yandex. A must-win 2-0 here for Yandex if they want to stay in this event. As for Shopify, 1 win is all they need to guarantee their spot in the playoffs. And Tomato is in a rough spot, blocked off by the Archshark. Do they get the deny? They don't! Problems will take first blood. And Skem just trying to walk at heroes as he has 0 spells.
I'm surprised Gyrocopter was the one on smoke-breaking position. Yeah. That's literally Ogre's one use without any spells. Go stick him in there. I think Ogre was going to go place the ward, though, and was walking back to maybe take that position. But a good ice shard from the Tusk, getting them that first blood. That's some of the tempo you want to start the game off.
Yeah, and you do need to be a little bit careful going for these bounties because they are still quite healthy. They will take the top rune. The Eidolons will get cleaned up here by the Tusk and the Warlock. Well, he gets one deny. Hellscream actually loses his courier. Where?
Chira Jr. killed it, so I guess it must have been moving from the bottom lane to the top.
Oh my goodness. It had all of his regen on it.
I really like that idea from Yandex. They get that fight bottom, and then there's like a late smoke to their own bounty rune, which almost gets them a kill. I think if the Ice Shards had blocked off the Enigma, they could switch targets to him. It's a very slow hero that you'd be able to run down, but instead, we'll be back to the lanes, minus a courier on the Clockwork.
Skem is taking a beating in the bottom lane here. Needs to get to this level 2 so he can start playing around with the Ignite. But for now, struggling just a wee bit.
I see Enigma going for the Helm of the Dominator this game. Eidolons will probably be farmed by Tidebringer and various AoE spells this game. Tomato farmed as well.
Turns around, does get some damage back the way. Skem has stun and Ignite. They're both gonna die. XD,
Carry
says Tomato.
Ogre.
Yeah, Ogre is now the carry. Hear me.
Alright, level 3 on Ogre, so level 2 Ignite and Fire Blast. That's actually quite powerful. Of course, your Gyrocopter is actually still level 1 because of that, but he'll get level 2 and catch back up pretty quickly. Midas Rush? Hell screams. The courier's loaded. He's meeting it part way. Can't afford to lose it again this time.
So far, the lanes looking pretty even. The mid lane, this is going to be a relatively uneventful lane unless we get like a rotation, but both these heroes are really fast. So I don't know if we're going to see really too much going on in them. Coddle's just going to be pushing the wave and
stacking the jungle.
Yeah.
Which I think is what Yandex was actually looking for initially with that smoke. They wanted to make their way into the jungle, go set up some wards, potentially block the camps that Coddle loves to stack. But you end up with the first blood. You know, you'll take that for sure, but you will eventually need to send someone to go deal with the camps that Coddle is going to be farming. Clockwork's courier walking to his death again. Couriers deserve more respect.
Yeah, they work so hard. And they don't ask for much. They just kind of
They're my favorite teammate
not to die, you know?
In any given pub game, they're the only ones that listen to me.
It's true. Nice deny on the pole there from Hels. Well, does he get the deny? Yeah, he does. Okay.
It's kind of
So
close.
that creep wave will disconnect right back in the lane. As expected, the Kunkka doing quite well against this Enigma. Pretty much every single time he brings these Eidolons up, they're just getting cleaved down or never like guaranteeing the split. And that's the big part of the Enigma hero itself is you need to get the Eidolons to split.
Yeah, they are keeping him low. This hero, because of the health cost on demonic summoning, right, you do have to kind of sit back, but then you use the Eidolons to make it worth it. And now your Eidolons are being farmed, and you're taking extra harass from Fatal Bonds and Shadow Word. This is an Enigma having a hard time keeping his health high. Trying to get to the Helm of the Iron Will to start balancing some of that out, but it has been a slow start, like you said. A lot of pressure going to be on Yopaj as he gets to level 6. We see a lot of rotations happen, trying to get those early urn charges for the Spirit Vessel later, and get the tempo going. It's why you pick this hero nowadays. We had that brief span of support Coddle, who
He's
being
dead.
run down. How
He
does
has
stick
Crypt
charge?
Storm in 1.
He's got a dodge, and it is a wide spell.
Well, they might be able to get the chase here if they can get the ignite. They do with the blood grenade. Hell's Scream should be able to finish the job.
Not another
There's
courier.
Oh, okay, they get the kill. I was about to say right before that Yopaj is getting bodied in this lane, and he ends up dying. So continuing to push the lead. Now that death on the Death Prophet will help him out in terms of getting a little bit of solo XP and farm before the Death Prophet gets back, but he is not having a great time in this lane.
Well, I will say that a lot of those denies are when he goes to stack, right? So it does give some free farm to your opponents, but the math theory is that the stacks are worth it, so long as you secure them at some point. And it could, I mean, they're still there, right? So it isn't a loss yet, but those collected for her first exorcism. Woo. And I want to see where she goes with it. If she's just going to try to take the mid tower quickly to punish Coddle, or if you want to try to rotate somewhere with this. See what they arcane rune too.
Yeah, I was like, this is the best possible rune you could get. They're looking to gank bottom here as they're just bringing a bunch of heroes trying to dive Notice under the tower, but he does get the shallow grave off. He is stuck inside of these cogs, taking a lot of damage, but he's survived with a lot of health, actually. Tomato gonna come right back in with this rocket barrage, try and do the damage, but is it enough? Flat cannon, blood grenade. They need to finish this hero, but Tomato, he's gonna die instead. Skem next on the chopping block as TA2000 comes through. Great cogs to try and push them away. It's gonna be a double kill for the Kunkka. The Coddle was like close, but he didn't have ult, and so he just left. And that's the nature of like losing this mid lane, and now Hellscream is gonna die here. X into the boat. A little bit of healing coming through from the Keeper of the Light. The snowball though, we'll secure it.
Yeah, that's not the first time I have seen Shopify push pretty aggressively beyond the off lane tower. And that is now the, I think, second time I have seen them punished pretty hard for it.
Oh,
the idea is...
Oh, no, he walked into the ramp. All right, never mind.
The idea is good, where if you get away with it, you can steal the Wisdom Shrine. It's like a huge power play, but there's obviously a lot of risk around it. And it seems like they don't have it quite... I don't know, what's the right word here? They don't have it perfect, where... other things on the map aren't happening to prevent the rotations. You know, like, oh, they're distracted mid and top, so we can make this kind of dive.
This is your Arcane Rune Exorcism. Scam immediately cleaned up. This should be the tier 1 tower in the bottom lane without any issues. And they will look to put that to use again here in just about 80 seconds. They are going to rotate in on Yopaj. There's your Solar Bind. For now, the tower is surviving. The Exorcism Spirits still bugged. Love that. They're literally invisible.
They're hitting the tower. Now they're going to be hitting Hellscream. Let me tell you what.
That's a big Golem and Fatal Bonds out here from Solo, but the sustain in from the Coddle, it's enough. Cheer Jr. will finish off the tower. As Tomato really just wants the Golem here. A little bit of gold going his way. It's going to be close. Can't commit for it. The Ignite.
Can you grave the Golem?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I think if you can, you should. And Golem's the only teammate that listens to me in a pub game.
Well, as of right now, Divine Llama is going his Helm of the Overlord. You're at a pretty substantial disadvantage. Like, that Warlock popped his Grimoire. He's level 7 compared to all these other heroes in the game.
I mean, there's been a lot of kills. It's 5 to 7, right? So he definitely had the Grimoire stacks. Now, usually in that type of play, if Enigma doesn't join, he'll take the top tower while everyone's distracted. But versus this Kunkka, he's felt perfectly fine to just defend every wave and farm up himself. So it's not like you were even winning in another lane while that was happening.
Yep. It's a 3,000 gold lead here for Yandex, which is adding up pretty quickly here. That Exorcism back off cooldown. We'll see if they're going to be able to put this to use. He is still just going to rush the Aghanim Scepter despite the nerf. I mean, it's a really good item. It's a lot of damage for this hero. And you will get another power rune topside. This one's an Invis. Hellscream's going to catch an X, but not wanting to commit too far.
I think the Aghanim still synergizes really well for a universal hero to get more out of her right clicks in terms of damage and sustain. I know it doesn't slow, but I mean, it was too good, right? That's why she was banned every game. So it needed some kind of nerf, and I can still see the build working, especially when you have slows coming from your teammates. I guess we'll see if it's actually true.
He knows he's dead here. The Dazzle's just been actually... The thing that's crazy is Dazzle not only is getting this kill, he is taking his Ancient stack as well behind the tree line. So that is a super painful death. Meanwhile, topside, TA2000, also going to be met with a flurry of spells, is now solo cut off here from Hellscream. Nowhere to go. The Solar Blind plus the Vessel doing work, and this is exactly what you need for your Keeper of the Light. He has to be getting active right now.
Getting some good use out of the Spirit Vessel and the Helm of the Dominator on the Enigma. This might actually lead to the tower if you don't bring the heroes up here quickly.
They saw the Death Prophet. They know he's in this here. I think they're going to back. Yeah, I think they kind of know something's up. More TP's coming in. Death Prophet is nearby.
The money.
So much gold. Well, they find Scam with the X. Hellscream going to try and block them off here with the cogs and make it a little bit difficult for them to chase. And looks like it has kind of worked. Torrent, however, nice hurricane in from Divine Llama, but Scam's kind of in a jail right now. He doesn't really know where to go. It's like, somebody please help me. Yeah, I don't think he's surviving this one. Problems will just close the gap. They're going to make him work for it, though, as the Eidolons are doing a decent chunk of damage. And Divine Llama wants to keep trying doing his best here. X, though. Now I'm going to put Divine Llama on a rough spot. Pulled back right into the Golem, the Snowball. They end up getting more than they asked for. And now they will get the tower as well as the Exorcism comes out once again.
The Fortify, by a little bit of time, but you've got the Golem and Exorcism. There's no triangle stacks to steal, which is what Solo is checking for right now, which would have been a huge play off of this. All the stacks are in the bottom jungle right now, thankfully for Shopify. Being farmed up by Tomato now. Doesn't want any of these to get stolen.
I think this Dazzle Aghanim Scepter is going to be a really big issue for Shopify the moment it's up. Speaking of which, he's actually just going to go aggressive here onto Hellscream. And with the urn, I think he's just dead. Yeah, Notice just kills him from his own tower. Scam pulled from the boat as well into the life drain, getting some healing in from the Keeper of the Light, but Chiro Jr. should be able to continue the chase. Finishes the job. 4,000 gold lead now for Yandex as they look for the mid-tier 1 tower. And they are not stopping this train.
They've got no Exorcism or Golem, but their heroes are just strong from being ahead this game. Black Hole is technically good, but it's very difficult to walk up and use the ability this game. So they're not really worried about it. They're okay grouping up and just forcing an objective down. So that is the last tier 1 tower down at 14 minutes while having all of theirs still up. Barely, I should say. Most of them are at least halfway dead. The mid one has 124 health left, but you can still TP to them so long as they have just 1 HP, and that means you can defend. So you have a lot of map control right now as Yandex.
Yeah, mind you, this is while you have a Keeper of the Light, who's traditionally one of the best heroes at defending towers. So it has been a little bit of a struggle here for Shopify, as the Aghanim Scepter is pretty much done on the Dazzle at this point. And bottom lane, TP out here from the Tusk. Yep, simple enough. That is going to be the Coddle bots rotation. His last Vessel charge as well. So that doesn't feel good.
No, it does not. But the Helm of the Overlord is almost done. And although you can easily kill the Eidolons, the Overlord creeps are a bit harder to deal with, at least for right now. So maybe they'll be able to use it.
We'll see what they can do, and while we wait for that, y'all can go ahead and type !F in chat to check out the newly created Fissure highlight channel on YouTube, which has a bunch of great plays from this event so far. Speaking of great plays, that is a super dead Enigma, dies to his own Eidolons exploding. The classic.
Betrayed. That's why only couriers and golems are my friend. Not Eidolons. Using the Exorcism with the various spirits collected and the amplified damage rune to now go for Roche. I really like the way Yandex has been playing around their golems and the exorcisms. It's been very little downtime. Every time these abilities are up, they're pushing towards objectives. They got all the tier 1s. What's next? How about Roshan at 16 minutes? Not something most lineups can do, but with a Death Prophet who is popping off and somehow not even top net worth spot, it is very much a viable objective. That'll be a quick Aegis for them, and I think you just camp on the enemy's half of the map now.
Yeah. Okay, I will say, I'm pretty sure there was a patch note recently that specifically said it fixed the issue with the Exorcism spirits on Death Prophet, like, disappearing. And now they're just always invisible. So I'm not sure if it's a cosmetic Cherry Jr. has, but for some reason, they don't ever show up anymore, which is really weird. I'm not sure if that's the same for the players or not, but that, definitely not great. Hookshot in from Hellscream, trying to just hold TA2000 down long enough. The Vessel is not available, and because of it, TA2000 buys a lot of time. It looks like, I was gonna say maybe they fight. Cheer Jr. decides no, doesn't want to. No EXO for 50. So that's a nice find there from Shopify.
I will say for Shopify, they're doing a decent job of farming despite the restricted map. 4K down, rough, but that's pretty much all the towers and the Roshan gold. That means all their farming has been on pace with Yandex.
Goodness. Problems with a blink reveal, just baiting Yopaj and Hellscream.
Mentor. Don't usually have all these towers and objectives down already. What do we do, guys? Yandex looking to push tier 2, even though it's a little awkward. But with Exorcism and Aegis, it's not
just got
too
tier
bad.
2 ult too, right? So might as well put it to use. The invisible spirits doing what they do best.
Looks like he didn't have a lot of spirits collected, so most of these are visible.
Yeah.
It seems to be an issue with when you collect spirits and then they show for a little bit and then disappear. I don't know exactly what happens, but yeah, we can see most of them destroying this tier 2 tower.
Yeah, I mean, he's not too worried. He's got a Warlock behind him, 2 minutes and 40 seconds left on the Aegis. He's chilling. Now, Tomato is trying to get to a BKB desperately here on this gyrocopter, but it's not going to come soon enough. So tier 2 is down. They're going to fort the wave, at least for the moment, so delaying it, but the Exorcism running the Solar Crest there, that should be more than enough.
Top side, Divai Lama was trying to push out this lane to match some of the pressure, but has been found by problems. There's no getting out of this one.
No, not
He's going to waste some time trying to hide in trees, but...
He's doing his best to summon Eidolons and run them to cut the wave. On the other side, though, they do actually manage to find Chira Jr. That is your Aegis. There is a Golem. He's going to drop it. Do you have any more damage? It's going to be onto Yopaj. The X, though, comes out. He's going to get caught from the boat, and your Keeper of the Light in no man's land. Dead as they look for more. Great ice shards from Problems will trap down Skem. Another Cogs to try and make space, but it's just not enough. The call down doing actually a lot of damage, but that's 3 heroes for an Aegis.
Yeah, I mean, I think you take that, right? You're not even expecting to always get Aegis this early, so you manage to get a tier 2 tower bottom and 3 kills. Like, you'll take that. You go back to now farming some items. BKBs queued up for Death Prophet and Kunkka. With those plus the second Aegis, I think they have a really strong timing to take the rest of these towers and push high ground. We were talking about Yandex needing to take an early lead, right? That is what they're doing. It's I'm going to say only a 7K lead because we have seen some games be completely out of control at this point. So Shopify is finding some kills. They are splitting up and farming. They're not totally out of this. You have to respect the high ground defense versus in Enigma, Keeper Light, Gyro, all of that. But I do think Yandex is at least on the right path. And the BKB's second Aegis. Tormentor before all that, I suppose.
Oh my
Cheer
God.
Junior kill would have been big.
That can't miss. Those are the types of plays you have to get. Now, the Tormentor, however, is currently underway, and it is very low. We'll see if Shopify can punish this, as they are all stuck in the corner, taking a lot of damage from this Enigma, but he just gets caught from the boat instead, and TA2000 deletes him to die. In the process, they will still finish the Tormentor. It's taking them a moment, but they will get it. Oh, Solo. Oh, God, no. All right, Solo dies. Necessary sacrifice, I'm sure, as Cheer Jr. would say.
Dude, he's just buffing up the next Death Prophet ultimate. It's all part of the plan.
Really? This game favors Shopify. 10,000 gold behind in 20 minutes.
I'm gonna say it's the Enigma factor.
Yeah.
The calculations. Usually a very
Also
strong late game
Gyro.
hero. But I don't think we've seen a black hole this game. Now, I know it's not easy into the silence from Death Prophet. Kunkka's got multiple spells to cancel. Even nowadays, Dazzle can do it too. You know, Nothel projection yourself over, Poison Touch. The supports have ways to do it. So I know it's a tough black hole game, but hasn't even been able to find like a solo kill with it, which is pretty rough. He is working on the Blink BKB to eventually be able to finally catch people, but that is still a while away, so it seems like Shopify's plan just continue to delay for 10 plus minutes at this rate. And the later the game goes, I do favor them.
Yeah, with the Gyro eventually and the Enigma, right? Like they are like slated to go into the late game there. Tusk, nice blink out, and he
Send it
will
with your
survive
soul.
once again. Well, with the Radiance BKB, now Sanj coming out on TA2000. We saw him pop the BKB in the last fight. Just gives him a little bit more reliable team fight, right? Like if they manage to connect onto the Kunkka with like the vessel, like we saw them able to actually kill him earlier, but once he has BKB, I feel like he just doesn't die in any of these fights until the Gyro is absurdly farmed. So I like this decision. Smoke here in the bottom lane. Ogre trying to just de-push the wave a little bit. They're going to go through the Twin Gate topside. And finding Yopaj would be absolute best case scenario, and they have absolutely done exactly that. There's your Walrus Punch. Yopaj is dead.
I think they were looking for Clockwork. They saw the courier go through the Twin Gate, so they expected Clockwork and maybe a teammate to be up here. Not sure if they expected the Keeper find like that, but they are happy to take that one. And Keeper is a big reason you struggle to push into tower, so with him being gone, they are moving down this top lane. Now let's see if they want to commit some ults to take this tier 2 tower. You might want to save them in case Roche respawns anytime now.
Death Prophet has Blink. Yeah, like she might just run straight after the Enigma, and he will get the ability to TP out thanks to the Yule Scepter from the Clockwork there.
Xmark almost made it in time to pull the Enigma back. That would have been scary. Maybe if they 4-staff him forward. I don't know if the cooldowns were were up or something. Roche, looking at the timer, I think about another minute before it's up. Of course, they don't know that. So we'll see what they want to do if they just want to stall in the area. For now, I see a line drawn with the smoke, looking to push top, find a pickoff. And actually, a lot of Shopify's heroes are headed top right now, so this might be a big fight coming up here.
The Enigma has his Blink Dagger now, so if the Golem gets committed, they might be able to... Yo, Posh is just dead again. That is a great find here from the side of Yandex, and noticed, well, he's going to chase up for more. Drum's going to be popped. They'll just clean up this Helm of the Overlord minion. Another 250 gold just added to their bank account.
Money in the bank account. Everybody loves that. They're playing it patient. They want Roche. I think someone just checked. It hasn't spawned yet. I actually think this Rocket Flare is going to expire right before it respawns. So, if they don't check again, Yandex might get a few seconds head start on clearing it out.
Sanj and Yasha down on the Kunkka as the Aghanim Scepter is completed on the Gyro. So, we're getting to the point where Tomato might be showing up to some fights soon, but it's just going to be second Roche here going their way, and they will know about this on Shopify the moment the Roar comes out. The question is, do they want to do anything about it? I doubt it. Rocket Flare connects. Nothing's going to be in time.
If Clockwork was closer, you could attempt a hook shot steal. It's not a huge loss if you don't get it, but if you did steal it, I mean, it'd be huge. He cannot make it close enough in time, so they're just pushing out other lanes and continuing to wait. You give up your tier 2 tower and wait for that high ground push. That's where you are strongest as Shopify. Just hit level 20 on the gyrocopters. You got 3 more flat cannon attacks to work with. It's not bad. You need as much as you can possibly get at this rate. 11k down here. If you can somehow drag this out until the BKB is up on Enigma, I think that's your best shot at being able to win a fight. But that BKB is about 2,000 gold away, and Yandex is ready to go right now.
Yeah, they're just smoking, and they had a ward here on the triangle that kind of knew Shopify was in the area. And Divine Llama, he's going to be the one that they run into. He's got no TP. Yeah, he's got no TP, no blink. He's instantly dead. On the backside of the fight, though, Solo does catch the gyrocopter. He's going to immediately respond with the Golem. Here's going to be the BKB out from Tomato. They've got to start doing damage, and soon noticed is low. The flat cannon's doing a lot. They get the kill onto the Warlock, as Chira Jr. still healthy up onto the left side of this fight. So it's a 1-for-1 trade. The Enigma for the Warlock, a very good fight here once again for Yandex. They just continue to play aggressive into Shopify.
So much damage coming out from Gyrocopter there. This is what they've been stalling for. Next, you just need the control from Enigma to finish the job.
Yep.
So, although Enigma for Warlock, technically not the best, you will wait for Warlock, and you're probably going to wait for his ultimate as well, which means you've got to wait about a minute and a half more before you want to push again. And at that point, you'll have about a minute, 30 seconds left on the Aegis. So, if you can hold one more push, I think you're finally getting to the timing that Shopify's, well, I don't know if they wanted to, but they're kind of forced to based on the early game to play for. The Enigma Blink BKB, a farmed Gyrocopter who's taking the top net worth spot, being given as much farm priority as possible. This is where you have to play for.
God, having a Gunpowder Gauntlet on Kunkka feels so good.
Gunpowder Gauntlet feels like such a big AoE, but it's kind of funny how tiny it is in comparison to the actual Tidebringer cleave AoE.
Yules, buying Hellscream a little bit of time here, but, I mean, yeah, I don't know how you're planning on getting away from this one. This felt like a little bit of an odd decision. Like, he knew the Kunkka was there and wanted to try and make a play for, I guess, yeah, I honestly don't know. Maybe he thought he could wrap around, but
Yeah, I think it's you're trying to sneak out to cut a wave, and you know it's risky, but that's the game plan. You know he's about to respawn or have the.
They will find the Enigma. Now, TA2000 has the Aegis. Solo's actually just getting destroyed by this flat cannon. He's going to be able to survive for now. TA2000 still has that Aegis for a minute and a half. They find the Ogre. It's going to be the Exorcism from Chira Jr. committed to secure that kill.
It's okay. You only need one black hole to win the game. It's as they push for the tier 2, tier 3. Unless they pick off more heroes before that point.
TA2000 going to go in once again here and try and kill Hellscream. You could just try and hookshot him there and maybe force the Aegis, but Solar Crest is out. Okay, you will just walk away and still keep his Aegis.
I'm a little surprised they're not trying to force it out. At the same time, that's Exorcism down. By the time it's up, the Aegis is expired, and they never lost that tier 2 mid, nor any of the side lane tier 3s. So overall, a successful hold. I think like 2k gold gained for Yandex, but honestly, that's not that. Okay, I guess the tier 2 tower falls.
Oh, that is an axe reveal from the Tusk. Tomato, not in a great spot here. Is pretty tanky, though, and able to get away. Okay, I gotta ask, how has a ward managed to stay on the high ground in Shopify's triangle for the full duration?
I have no idea. Maybe it's one of those, it's too high level. You're like, surely they wouldn't put one here. Why do we even need to check? I don't know. Maybe they felt too scared to walk there, but...
No, they were... This whole last fight started right there with Kunkka coming in and Xing the... Enigma, like on the high ground, like they saw him.
Yeah, and you're too scared to go back after that.
I don't know. Yeah. Very funny. Tormentor is up to Vilama in a scary spot on the map here. Needs to just get another Helm of the Overlord creep and start cutting waves, as that's pretty much what he's been up to for quite a while here.
Enigma has successfully slipped all the way to the enemy's jungle and should be able to quietly farm the rest of the BKB here. About 600 gold. Let's see, they're going to go do Tormentor. Yeah, you should be able to farm like 2 sets of camps here.
Sure, and this one goes to Chira Jr. All right. That's a good one.
Extra Spirit Siphon charge and the Fear if they get siphoned for 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Pretty solid. You don't have to buy it yourself, but it's nice to have for free. Things are tough now with the Tusk kick.
Yeah.
Before, it's scary if they come to you, just because they don't have the best gap closing heroes on Team Yandex, and you move in too far. Divine Llamas.
Oh my god, he didn't use it.
I think he microing creeps or maybe looking away.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he was just not paying attention to his hero. He had a good while to see problems. Like, problems like blinked in, was looking at the creeps, and then finds the Enigma. And he had like a full, probably 3 seconds to respond with Blink Dagger there. That's like definitely a Blink TP scenario, and I think he's out. That was a really unnecessary death.
That means even as he respawns, the BKB still needs to be farmed up. Still needs about 300 gold to go get it. I imagine he'll respawn and head to that bottom jungle, try to finish it. Because we're getting close to the next Roche. And this time, if Yandex gets it, I mean, it's going to be like a 20k gold lead. We're going to have Refresher for maybe the Death Prophet. I guess you see who actually needs it. Man, the issue with how late this BKB is taking to farm, Solo bought a Blink Dagger. So he is going to sit 5 miles in the back, and when the BKB Black Hole finally comes out, he is going to blink in and use Golem.
Yeah, it's a 16,000 gold advantage. the supports on with how this game has been going, it's very possible that this Tusk will eventually pass the Enigma. And think about the fact that this is a mid Keeper of the Light, traditionally one of the fastest farming mid heroes. He is so poor.
Well, that's part of why we don't see him as much anymore, right? He got various nerfs that just make him less consistent, even though you want to do the same thing, but you're just not as good at it, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, you're picking the hero thinking, you know, this is the case, it is still good, and I get it. Spirit Vessel's really strong this game. The hero is good, but you have very little room for error. You must do well in the lanes, you must make successful rotations with your early ultimate, the urn into Spirit Vessel, and the early rotations are where it kind of fell flat, right? They didn't really get great kills. Gyro would be a great kill, being found first here. I think he should be okay with some help from to TP back to make sure they can help him if they had committed harder. I think that smoke is actually revealed by the
by the
reflected.
missile. And you can see Cheer Jr. in the trees there knowing something's up. Call down, he immediately dodged it out as they go right up onto the high ground. The missile will be sent on over to TA2000, but just gets cleaned up pretty easily. Tomato going to try and stand his ground here against Cheer Jr. He does have the BKBs. Cheer Jr. needs to be careful. This gyrocopter doing a lot of work. He gets hexed up. There's his BKB. There's the shallow grave. In comes Divine Llama. The black hole instantly canceled from Solo. And now the fight's looking scary. Yopaj kicked right into the fray, and Tomato's got nothing left to help him. Dude dead. Meanwhile, Yandex lose absolutely nothing. And Divine Llama, well, he's going to have to hit the road.
See, fortunately, no creeps are near their base. Otherwise, I think Team Yandex just immediately goes and takes barracks. Instead, they'll settle for Roshan. And at that point, I think the creep wave will have shoved in. You can go head in while Gyrocopter is still dead. Now, you don't have Exorcism, but there's a refresher here. I'm kind of interested if they want to give it to Death Prophet to just immediately use Exorcism. If you can call that Gyrocopter does not have buyback. Or maybe you found another kill in the meantime.
It's alright, they'll be both up at the same time anyway, so. But yeah, Aegis Cheese Refresher now available. The Refresher likely to go to, I would say Warlock would be a great pick. If he had the mana, but right now kind of struggling on that front.
You can Arcane. Solo, he's been playing a while, right? He can use his spells, drop his items, Refresher, Arcane, you know, pull him back in. I believe in it, the mana efficiency.
This is just one of those games where if you had one other hero on Shopify having a good game, then I think these fights are very different. And we saw how much Gyrocopter is able to accomplish in these fights, but he just can't do it alone, man.
Yeah, I mean, we see the Enigma pick early. Teams do this, right? It's not that strange. It's not bad. But the risk is that you get countered by things like the Golem. The idea is that there's two ways to play Enigma. That you either have the early aura build with the Eidolons or the late game like Blink Black Hole.
Oh, no.
Both have been answered here. Neither did anything, so this first pick Enigma has not felt great.
Okay, Tomato's just gonna have to turn on the BKB and get to work, hoping he can start shredding through these heroes and fast. He's gonna need some help. The Satanic is out, but he's in trouble. The heals, are they gonna be able to keep Tomato in this one right into the hands of the Death Prophet? The Black Hole is there, but where is your follow-up damage? Finally, they take down the Death Prophet, but she's got an Aegis, and she is coming back. No Gyrocopter for your high ground defense. It is all on Yopaj to keep his base alive. As Problems will go in and kick the keep it alive right into the fray. Problems will be forced to pop the cheese. He's gonna get kicked back here now, and that should be a kill as Kunkka playing in the skies as well. Spirit Vessel doing some work. Solar Bind. Did he just yoink the gem on the courier after he died? He did. He just got the gem out. Dude, that's crazy.
No exorcism either, so even as you win this fight, you actually don't have
an aggressive play here, like you said. We'll see if they can actually hold this one down, though. A lot of damage over to the Death Prophet. There's the shallow grave, but you got to be careful. On notice, you're stuck inside these cogs. A lot of the damage from the Enigma is going to add up as well. The Ignite, they can't get out of the... It will die.
Not be killed there. So, almost retreating fast enough. Are we going to call... I think that's another successful hold at the end of the day. Even though Gyro got killed, that was the Aegis used, Refresher used, and I'm looking at these tier 3s. They're still up, although softened a good amount. 21k gold lead for Team Yandex is pretty good, but at this point, it's starting to matter less and less. Good black hole flat cannon combo away from the game just being flipped on its head.
I mean, it's really true. We're seeing Midnight Pulse do a pretty substantial amount of damage because they do group up quite heavily on the side of Yandex, and they're tanky. So the Midnight Pulse hits hard. If you can actually like take a fight under the Midnight Pulse in the black hole with the gyrocopter and is not instantly interrupted by a Warlock, I see down but not out on Shopify. There's a Nullifier coming on TA2000 right now. Quite a nice pickup. Tomato, it's his 25. Good. They're going to take the Twin Gate to the bottom side. Is it Scotty into Disperser? That's hype, dude. What?
If my Kunga can't right-click scale, then I shall right-click scale. All universal heroes can do it. It's kind of true. I really think... Well, I don't know. Maybe you can just take the next refresher. I think the first refresher should have gone to him. I think it went to Warlock in that last fight. And I get it, but... I don't know, you really need Exorcism to take towers. We kind of saw, like, they won the fight, and then they tickled the tower, despite being 20k up, because they're just not good at taking towers. I feel like a refresher could help solve that, but I suppose a Disperser also solves that by giving you more right-click damage as a universal hero.
Another Arcane Rune bottled here for Chira Jr., which will give them a lot of team fight power if they manage to keep that on the hero.
They've got Arcane Exorcism. Feel like you can finish off this tier 3 tower pretty safely.
Problems is looking for the kickback, dude. He knows something's up here. Into the trees, he's looking for him. He's gonna be okay. I mean, that would have been a really sick play, the kickback into the X.
I mean, the thing is, you can just do it again, right? I mean, it's up again in now, so anytime you want to just send him in, see what he can find. Hey, Yopaj is gonna have to play by the Ancient.
Are they waiting for Torment? Oh my god! Oh my god!
A sacrifice must be made.
He's like, all right, I'll get the gem, guys. Don't worry. TPing back.
Yeah, you pop Exorcism, you go. You force the buyback.
You're gonna have to buy back your ogre now. That's not ideal. Love to have a bloodlust for your gyrocopter right now, but it is not available. Chira Jr. gonna try and go toe to toe. Gyro, her flat cannon as well, but they do manage to get the lane of Rax. X into Torrent. Chira Jr. goes in aggressively. He just pops the BKB here on Tomato. The Pure Cloak out as well. Hook shot onto the backside. Doesn't quite catch anyone, but there's going to be the Black Hole. He's got the Enigma. Can they actually bring these heroes down? Nobody is dying. They're going to turn around onto the Gyro instead. Enigma is dead. Where's your damage? You finally hit a black hole and nobody can do anything. And instead, they're going to fountain farm you with this.
No way. No, surely you can't. Surely you can't.
I think he
does. Oh, they kick him out. You can. Oh, no.
This game, I think, is over for the side of Shopify as all 5 heroes remain. And you do not have a gyrocopter for 90 seconds.
That was actually such a good black hole, too. You Yules the Warlock, jump in, black hole underneath him, catch 3 heroes, and then you're right, where is the damage? Gyro can't do enough on his own. Alright, that's tier 2 down. Exorcism being popped finally.
Alright, who gets kicked next to death? Who's it gonna be?
Anyone who walks too close. Who wants to be kicked to death next?
Oh, there it is. I was about to say Enigma. I was about to say it. He pops the BKB, gets pulled back, but stuck in the ice shards now, has to TP, otherwise he is dead. He is actually gonna die thanks to the Yules, and now Divine Llama down to 20 HP, burns to the poison touch. Notice, kills him from the other side of the base. That is gonna be GG. And Yandex now 1 game away from knocking Shopify out of the tournament.
At the same time, also 1 game away from not making it. So they're going to breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief winning game 1, but it's not finished. You must win game 2. That's what Shopify can say. It's okay. We just need 1 game, guys. That game 1 was not it. They had a very rough time getting anything going. To their credit, they really dragged it out in a way that I didn't think they'd be able to. They made it all the way to, what was that, like 46 minutes, right? I thought this was looking, 20 or 30 minutes was going to be over. So they did hold on, but ultimately could not chain together the combo of spells that they kind of drafted for. By the time they did, it was 45 minutes into the game, and it was a little too late at that point. So... yeah. They're going to have to revisit the draft a bit, I think. This Enigma first pick has not been panning out for them. I think this is 2 games, at least, that you and I have seen this first pick Enigma come out. It's a bold pick. The idea is that there's obvious counters, and then you can play around that based on what the enemy team does. But if that's not happening, then it's not worth picking Enigma first pick, right? Pick it at the end when there are no counters.
Yeah, this is a painful loss for them, because you also get this last pick Keeper of the Light into the Death Prophet lane, and you lose the lane. And this is supposed to be the hero that shuts down Yandex early, and instead, Yopaj finishes the game 1-4-6. Like, there's just... this hero is built to try and find picks early with your immediate level 6, and the first rotation that we see him make... he was still level 5 when they go to the bottom lane to try and maybe fight for the Wisdom Shrine at 7 minutes. Yopaj was still level 5, and then he goes to the jungle to try and get level 6 really quick, but his team, goes and makes the dive anyway. They end up losing like 3 heroes, and Chira Jr. just snowballed out of control this game. 11-1 and 11.
Yeah, I really like the idea of the aggressive play at the offlane tower for the Wisdom Shrine, but I think you really need a good grasp of the situation, right? That you can get away with that, because it is a high risk.
going up. Go tell the odds, stay out of luck. Too much on the line to give it up. You know the mission, we gotta get it on Monday night. Monday night, we going up. Go tell the odds, stay out of luck. Too much on the line to give it up. You know the mission, we gotta get it on Monday night. Going up. Go tell the odds, stay out of luck. Too much on the line to give it up. You know the mission, we gotta get it on Monday night. Monday night, we going up. Go tell the odds, stay out of luck. Too much on the line to give it up. You know the mission, we gotta get it on Monday night.
Nothing was given, I had to work. I got no limits, huh? Short on the 15, back on the first. Either way, I'ma get it, Lord be my witness, Feeling pressure, but never let them deflection from goals. You just keep your head up, we rose from nothing. Remember, we set them shop every member, contribute, get hit together. Plus, they know that we better, they know that we'll never let up. Fire within me, ice in my veins. Fire within me, ice in my veins. If I get cold, I'm about to heat up. Only at stress, I kick my feet up. Fire within me, ice in my veins. Fire within me, ice in my veins. If I get cold, I'm bound to heat up. I hear the noise, but no, they need us. Ice in my veins, yeah, ice in my veins, yeah. I got that fire in me, hey, I got that fire in me,
Hello, everybody. Welcome back here to the Fissure Universe, Episode 5. My name is Cryptic here with ZQuick Exotics, and we have one final game here today, and it's an important series, as the winner of this will move on to, the playoffs. The loser's out. Shopify versus Team Yandex. Game 1 looked very good for Yandex. Shopify could not get a hold in this game at all.
Yeah, they dragged it out in a kind of an impressive way as a comeback, but you don't want to be in that situation. It's not really why they drafted a hero, like why you want to keep her mid. Ogre, not a support who's meant to be playing from behind. So I'm kind of impressed by the hold, but I know they don't want to be in that situation. And so definitely going into game number 2, you're going to need to step it up, possibly with a brand new draft. And if you're not sure what we're talking about because you missed the game, then make sure to type !F in the chat. There's a YouTube highlights channel for Fissure. The last game's probably not up there yet. It just happened. But give it a little bit of time. It'll pop up there. Or any of the other games you might have missed. You can find it there. And with that, we are probably about to head into game number 2's draft, where I think Yandex should leave Enigma in and maybe even ban the gyrocopter themselves or like other counters. Really bait them in because, I don't know, it's not been looking good for Shopify.
Did you ban the Dazzle here? Which, to be fair, they had no answer for last game either. The gyrocopter did okay in lane, but it wasn't great. Like, the gyro was on the back foot the whole time. Dazzle completely free farmed. He took his ancient stacks, killed him again. It just became
took his lunch
really
money.
Yeah, right. He took his lunch money and then he just like kicked him in the face as he was trying to run away. Like, I don't know, bro. Like, he just didn't have any opportunity.
Put mud on his new shoes.
So instead of going the first pick, Enigma, they go for the first pick, Axe, which is one of the other heroes that they've been opening up with a lot. And Yandex will go immediately with the Shadow Demon response.
They have been finding more success with this Axe in the off lane. I don't want to read too much into it, guys. I know he can play a good Enigma, but at least in this current tournament, in the day 1, the day 2, it's not connecting with either him or the team. Axe, different style. No micro, just like play the lane, creep cut, blink initiation, right? Maybe it's just better right now, so I'm all for it. After game 1, you gotta swap it up a little bit. The Shadow Demon response is very good, though. Disruption is a fantastic save against anyone who gets Axe called. And then Disseminate, also really good to actually get Axe killed. He thinks he's going to be tanky with the call, and he actually just dies during it because he's taking so much extra damage all of a sudden.
I think this is definitely a better hero for them, but I think already with the Shadow Demon pick, it's going to make your game a little bit difficult. We'll see if they can actually just find Shadow Demon with the calls. That's like best case scenario because he's your save hero and you can just instantly remove him from the game. You do need to be worried about the lane now, though, as the Ursa is banned, but there's still a lot of heroes that can fare fairly well against the Axe itself in lane.
And I know we've been a little harsh on that, Divine Llama and that Enigma. I do want to defend him a bit. Shopify is clearly picking his hero fairly early in the draft. It is a choice. It means you're going to be countered. His games are harder than being prioritized later in the draft, and those later picks are being given to Tomato or Yopaj in a lot of situations. And, I mean, that worked for the team, but last game it didn't quite pan out, right? That Keeper came out, and they just weren't able to fit it all together. I don't know where they want to point to in that last game, but if you're going to, again, pick Divine Llama's hero this early, he's going to get countered by, for example, the Shadow Demon. Other heroes will come out that are good versus Axe, and whatever those final picks are being saved for, you got to deliver on those heroes.
I like the Puck ban once again. It's a hero that's good at finding the backline. We've seen it do well against Shadow Demon in the past. I do think that you're gonna need. You either have two choices here when you play the Axe lane into the Shadow Demon. You either play to kill the lane and you pick an aggressive forward position, which the Bat Rider is banned, so that makes it a little bit difficult, or
You play to go stack, and you just kind of hope that the Axe survives. So I'm curious which avenue they want to play for. They grab the Pangolier pretty early here, which I feel leaves the door open for an early Ember Spirit response. Like, you don't have to pick it right now. You could just pick it on 18 because it can't get banned. They will go for the Leshrac, which Hellscream has played. It's something that they have ran with the Axe before, so I'm not 100% sold that this is mid lane for them, but it could be.
Yeah, kind of double dipped in what you said, right? It could stack because he's a very fast ranged hero, but if Axe gets a call, drags them away from the creep wave, you got the easy setup for your stun into the Diabolic Edict with Misanthropy. That is a bunch of damage to kill whoever. Now, there is the Disruption save, which is pretty good versus both of that. The call, the Split Earth, the Diabolic Edict, so I'm kind of open to that being the lane pairing, but maybe you want to see where Shadow Demon's going. Like, if it's actually positioned for Shadow Demon, you might actually feel better about committing to that lane duo.
I like the Bane pick a lot, though, because it does give you Fiend's Grip for the Pangolier. Shadow Demon can't save the Bango from the Fiend's Grip if he's in Rolling Thunder, which is hilarious. So that is a great lockdown. They're going to go for the Doom Warlock, which, why not? Go back to the Warlock. It was a great answer to what Shopify was doing in Game 1. You can run the Doom, either the carry or the offlane variant. I think both are good in this game so far. I think carry Doom actually does perfectly fine against Axe, because he's not like a super fast attack speed hero, but he will burn you with Infernal Blade and the Scorched Earth.
That is true. I'd be open to it, but we'll see how the rest of the picks go. Because one downside is that usually if you're running the carry Doom, you have a more carry style mid hero to kind of take the responsibility of the scaling, which Pango, not really the best if it is a mid Pango. Yeah, with that said, last game they didn't really have a true carry and they won, so maybe they're perfectly fine with it. Just run it again.
I mean, they could move the Pango off lane for Noticed. He's been playing a whole bunch of stuff, so I feel like he doesn't mind doing that. Now seeing the Shadow Fiend, it's an interesting pick. I thought they might go for the Ember early just to like guarantee the mid matchup if you think it's going to be Pango mid. But Shadow Fiend technically can flex between mid and safe lane. I think right now they're going to ban out the Darkseer, so maybe indicating that this is going to be Tomato's hero and they just want to have the overwhelming physical damage from the Shadow Fiend here in this game and have good single target damage, which is great. See if it works out or not.
You know, two heroes I'm a little surprised by. I'm surprised by how much Shadow Shaman fell off based on the nerfs, which we kind of already talked about earlier. I'm also surprised that Rubik is just so dead. I know his laning stage is not good. He got nerfed in that sense, but so many games, there are so many good steals. Like when Shadow Shaman was good, this game, like Disruption steal is great, Roll's great, Doom spells are great, Warlock spells are great. I don't know. Not that I think they strictly need it in this game, but I'm so surprised we see absolutely no Rubik.
I completely agree. It's a little bit of a bummer because he is such a fun hero to watch.
He's a fun one, yeah.
Yeah. Yandex are probably going to ban out like some of the hard mid laners to deal with. I still think Ember is pretty good for them. Even though you have a Doom, it is great at finding the backline. Chain Gang makes it really difficult for the Pango to reliably get ult off because you can just Searing Chains him from so far away. There it is. Okay. I think that's probably the best ban you could go with. I don't know if there's a whole lot else you're super worried about in the mid lane for the Pangolier. The big ones are all removed. You could kind of Uno reverse card them and pull out the Death Prophet, but you're playing into it, which is not ideal.
Yeah. And last game, the Death Prophet was paired with the Dazzle. It's always nice to have a save hero. You also have the Tusk, right? So multiple save heroes so that she can play aggressively and be backed up. Kind of have Nightmare, but it's really not the same level of save as the other abilities, so it would be a downside to the hero. They didn't go for the good old Storm Spirit. Nothing beats Storm Spirit except the things that do, but Pango will go probably even, at least in this lane. Strength of the Pango. You'll have to be careful of the Doom, but Doom can't get everyone. So if you're getting Doom, that means your Shadow Fiend's running free. That does mean it's a Leshrac 4.
Yeah.
So that's pretty fun. It's the Shadow Demon is not position 5, unless they want a lane swap. So you don't have to worry about disruption. Do you commit to the carry Doom now?
I think you do. I think carry Doom just crushes the Axe lane so hard. And you don't want to pick a carry that's like susceptible to being like Blade Mail dueled. Or you know, Blade Mail called. And I think
saying anti-mage?
yeah, definitely. So I think carry Doom is fine, and then for offlane, you could honestly just pick something like a Centaur, but maybe not. And then just go back for the Death Prophet. Wow. So we'll just be the offlane Pango, I think.
I mean, you have the Swashbuckle and the Jump to get away from the raises. It's one of the ways you can get some kills. Like I don't know what. Let's see what he wants to take on Bane. But like if you had Sleepwalking, you could put them in a bad position and then just set up a triple raise. The Pango will have a bit of at least a couple tools to get away from that, right? And then this Death Prophet, which they played very well in the last game, should have a decent time versus the Storm Spirit. He's a ranged hero, but it's a very short range, so you are weak to being run down by the Spirit Siphon. If you take an early point in Silence, that's also good versus the Zip. Because there is no Zip at that point. Yeah. So it should be a good time for Chira Jr. And they played very well around Exorcism and the Golem timings last game. We'll see if they can repeat that, because it sounds simple on paper, you know, like group when we have our cooldowns, but it ends up way more complicated than that. So the fact that they were so on point with it, like mid tower, safe lane, off lane, Roche, right there, that was really good.
Yeah, I do think that they played around their timings exceptionally well last game, and I'm a little bit worried about a Shadow Fiend into some of these heroes. He's really strong if he's allowed to stand his ground and auto attack, but you do have like a Death Prophet, Doom, and a Warlock who are probably just going to be throwing every spell they have at you. So we'll see if Shopify can actually buy space for him in the fight. It's not a great Axe game at all, and that is a pretty smart way from Yandex at addressing this, because I think Axe has definitely risen quite a bit in the meta, just because he's so good at securing kills. But a lot of it is because he specifically counters certain heroes in the carry role, and Doom is not one of those. So it's going to be a rough game for the Axe. We'll see if they can do it as we jump into game number 2 of Shopify versus Team Yandex, and this is the game. One team goes home, one team moves on to the playoffs. And it's going to go quick.
Now, part of what set the tone for the last game was a first blood for Team Yandex. Got a lot more defensive posturing from Shopify this time around. Here's the smoke. How do they want to move on this? It seems like looking to invade the triangle and potentially block some of those camps that you know Axe is interested in.
Ooh, what? Oh, disruption on the scam. Body blocked off here by Noticed. Who gets the first blood? It goes to the Shadow Demon. Well, that's not a great start, I'll be honest, for Shopify.
I guess it's better than losing the gyrocopter like last game, so a little bit of a step up from there. I'm amazed he got the disruption. Bane actually has the nighttime advantage usually. Yeah. So it's just walked forward a little bit too long and still got disrupted.
That cast range caught me off guard too. I honestly did not think he was within range to get the disruption.
It's a 650 cast range, so that's what kind of surprising. I think Bane's night vision is 1,000, right?
Yeah.
But the smoke breaks like a little closer, but so yeah, still surprised to see them give up first blood.
Well, TA 2000 should have a very good time here in the bottom lane. Solo's going to take a lot of annoying damage here from the Battle Hungers and stuff like that, but I don't think Divine Llama can really contest a Doom. Infernal Blade, Fatal Bonds are going to absolutely wreck him. And in the mid lane, we've got Yopaj versus Chira Jr., the Storm Spirit versus his Death Prophet. In last game, Chira Jr. actually did quite well. Managed to find a solo kill on Yopaj's Keeper of the Light. We'll see what he can do here against the Storm Spirit.
See, this time you do have to more directly lane into that Death Prophet. Coddle last time just shoves out lanes and jungles. So we didn't really get to see Shira Jr. like the proper laning, how good he is at pushing the limits on this hero. But it should be much easier to do versus the Storm Spirit, and so far, so good.
I think the level 3 is where this gets really difficult. The 2 points in Crypt Swarm are quite strong. He actually misses both those last hits. A little bit unfortunate for him, but...
Caster cursed.
Yeah, what can you do? Does have his bottle delivery. Do you think Yopaj will get a rune?
I hope so. I hope so.
Dude, how funny would it be if like you fatal bonds a big camp and you just devour it and it just does the entire creep's health bar instantly on fatal bonds?
I think it should. You sold me.
That would be sick. Just deletes a hero.
I mean, that's what it felt like using fatal bonds before. It was so strong.
Yeah.
You'd use it on a creep wave and just delete heroes. It's been nerfed a little bit since then, but it's still pretty strong. And this pairing with the Scorched Earth is quite nice because you do such a large AoE of damage. You're reflecting all of it. Scorched Earth available in just a moment here. We might see that combo come into play in the bottom lane.
Ooh.
Top.
Yeah. Tries to go for like a sleepwalk play into the raises, but Problems does have the disruption there, so not going to be able to do much. But this will secure the Lotus for Shopify. In both lanes, actually. Divine Llama is still... is he just dead? No, not quite.
Yeah, you cannot contest a Leshrac for the Lotus runes. It is extremely difficult. So it's usually pretty guaranteed for that hero. But the Fatal Bonds are doing work on this Axe for now.
Yeah.
We don't really see the builds that rush Ring of Health anymore. Oh, they're rushing for the Doom. He's up here alone. Diabolic Edict, only level 2, but it's still quite a lot of damage.
Dead.